Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It is the full show of COVID-19 in Lockdown 3 here in England. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Henry Morgan, Stan Godwin, and not Goodwin, and Jeff Burnige.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Firstly, a special mention goes out to the family and friends of Millwall fan and former firefighter Ty Hemblade, who lost his long battle with cancer last Saturday night. He appeared on our Love Sport radio show back in September 2019 when he showed so much positivity. Tonight we say rest in peace, Ty Hemblade, and our sincere condolences go out to his family and friends. A memorial fund for Ty is available. Just enter into your browser fundraiser by Ellen Butler, and Ellen is E for Echo, L for Lima, E for Echo, N for November. So that's fundraiser by Ellen Butler for our beloved Ty. And it will show up a link to a GoFundMe page. So fundraiser by Ellen Butler for our beloved Ty, and it will go to a GoFundMe page. Before I turn to the panel, there are a couple of urgent requests. Sean Daly of the Millwall Community Trust is desperate for volunteers to deliver their support to the community. Every day he's losing team members due to self-isolation requirements. Can you call Sean on 07958 027060 if you can help? And I'll repeat that. That's 07958 027060. They'd really appreciate if you can lend a hand. Now, the Lions Food Hub, based in the Rennie and Manor Estate Tenants and Residents Association Hall in Bermondsey, are looking for food and financial support. Stuff's tough up there, so to help them, you can find Lions Food Hub on Twitter and Facebook. And if you can help, they'd really appreciate it. Well, hi guys, a lot going on, and it's good to be back with you all. Henry, what do you make of our recent couple of games?
Evening, Eamon. Evening, everyone. I think it's difficult to put the Bristol City game into any kind of a box, to be honest with you. I think if we focus on our league form, it's potentially heading in the right direction. I think the last three games, but obviously, we need to focus on creating a few more chances. I think for our strikers, that's been well documented. There's a lot of talk about us not having particular strikers at the club here, there, and everywhere, but we do have the personnel. I think it's just the fact that they don't ever seem to get a chance. And that was no more evident than in the game against Watford on Tuesday night in the mud bath that was the Den.
Yeah, it wasn't a good show on the striker front, but it was a good show in terms of what the rest of our team did, I think. What do you reckon, Stan?
I was well impressed. I mean, with Ryan Leonard, I thought he was solid. I thought Danny McNamara was outstanding. The new guy that we signed in the centre of in the midfield, I thought he was very good.
Yeah, had a good game.
Yeah, Scott Malone, I don't know whether it's me. When we first had him, I always thought he was a good player. I mean, he was never a world class player, but then he didn't claim to be fair to him. And then when he went, and I thought, so well, we won't see him no more unless he comes back here in a cup game or something. And then when he suddenly turned up in the transfer window, and I thought, oh blimey, and I was surprised. And I've always rated the bloke, and I thought he had a good game.
I agree, Stan. I agree with you on everything you said about Scott Malone. I think he gets a lot of grief, and I can't really figure out why. I think he can hit a ball. He scored a couple of goals as well.
Yeah,
Blackburn.
I mean, I was well pleased, and I thought we played well. Cooper was Cooper as he normally is. Well pleased with the performance. Yeah, in the first half, what worried me was the fact, because I was sitting there and I thought, so in a minute his ball's going to get stuck. And it's going to be, and our luck being what it has been recently, we're going to be on the receiving end of some bad luck. But somehow that never happened. And then in the second half, balls getting held up in the mud, that didn't seem to happen. And I tell you, I did thought had a good game, and it's the best game I've seen him play in a long time. And that was old Woody. Yeah. I thought he was back to something like he was last season. So if we carry on like that, and I think we'll be okay. I just think that people, they get frustrated. Last season, you thought, well, when this season comes round, it promised so much, and we thought, oh, well, this is it. This season we've got Troy Parrott coming in, and it'll be lift off. And for one reason or the other, it just ain't quite happened.
Jeff, turning to you, the issue about us not scoring. We've got, how many strikers did we have on the side there
5
against Watford?
5. If you include Mason Bennett, we had 5.
Yeah.
See, I really, for once, I really agree with both Henry and Stan. We haven't got much of a debate going here. I think we all think roughly the same. What I would say is that I personally don't think it's because the strikers aren't good enough. They're all proven goal scorers. Even Troy Parrott scored loads of goals, admittedly at underage football. Under 23s, under 18s. So I just don't. If you try to remember how many chances our strikers actually have to score, it's not very many. I mean, some people would say that Ken Zahore's our best striker. He did not have a shot at goal on Tuesday. It can't be his fault.
No.
As for our general play, we were on the fringe of the playoff zone. Then we had 6 draws on the trot, if my memory serves me right. And everything depended on whether we found our shooting boots and turned a couple of those draws into wins, or whether the defence began to get frustrated that we weren't scoring any goals, and their form went. And I do think the last 3 league games, our defence has been right back on top form. I mean, last night, the 5 defenders, if you include the wing-backs, and Bart, between them, they didn't make a mistake. It was really excellent.
Yeah.
And those are 3 very useful results. I still feel that the front half of the team needs a lot of tinkering with. And I do hope we do have something different by Monday night. Pace, really. There's not really any frightening pace in the front half of the team. And we'll have to see what happens. But we are only probably 5 or 6 points above the relegation zone. And Rotherham, who were 22nd, won 3-0 at Middlesbrough on Tuesday. Now, that means we can't be guaranteed they're going to be below us at the end of the season. So I do think there remains a bit of a problem, and I am slightly worried, but on the form of our defence in the last 3 league games, I'm hopeful that we'll start to pick up a few more 3-point returns in the next month or so.
Hope upon hope, we'll get this attacking midfielder in who might make a big difference, because Gary Rowett has said that his attentions are turning to an attacking midfielder, and that might be a piece of the jigsaw that's missing. So let's live for what we've heard here tonight, that we've got a team that are certainly finding its form again. We just need to make the connection that allows our strikers, all of them that we have, to have an opportunity to strike that ball and start hitting the net.
Can I just say? I mean, I know it's easy, but you see, I did listen to Cole Bates the other day in one of the games, and I do honestly believe this is that we are. I mean, it's the same for every club, but I think in our case, right, we are certainly missing the fact that we can't get crowds in that ground, because I'm convinced some of them draws would have been wins. You know, all right, it's the same for everybody. And I think some clubs could, or some teams can cope with it better than others. And I don't think we're good at coping with it. That's, you know, but it's likely to be like that for the rest of the season. So it's going to, you know, but
nothing's
that's the way it is.
Change on that front at all. Nothing at all. But let's hope that what we've seen is good signs of what the future might hold. And we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up later in the show. Anyhow, before I go on, the first winner of the No One Likes Us Talking Pronunciation Award is that man that you mentioned, Stan, Cole Bates, for dealing with some real tongue-twister names against Watford. He put his co-commentator, Max McLennan, to shame. But shame about the disaster zone that you had there, Cole, where you trod all over the Watford reporter's mobile phone and damaged that. But that's not a surprise, is it really? We'll take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to Aisling talking about the demise of Love Sport Radio.
Hi, Aisling here. Since the first lockdown, you have heard our Bethany Warren continue to say that we were waiting to return with Love Sport Radio. This was because owner Kelvin McKenzie said it was taking a break back in April due to COVID-19 and would be back when normality returned to the marketplace. From 31st December, Love Sport Radio has ceased transmission, marking the end of the road for the service. Kelvin McKenzie's closing words to radio today were, "COVID killed the radio show. Commercial revenues collapsed in March. The radio business, especially small radio, is taking a terrible hammering. We enjoyed our experience with the Love Sport Radio team and thank them for their support when working with them at the studio and since. For now, we will continue to broadcast our show as we have done since last April, and we thank you, the listeners, for your continued support. Onwards and upwards."
I'm Eamonn Barclay. I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Henry Morgan, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. Sadly, Love Sport is no more. We made some great friends there, and it's something that we'll all look back on with pride. However, you can find our old shows on Spreaker along with our new ones. Just search Millwall No One Likes Us Talking. They can also be found on Twitter and Facebook via our website and on all the popular podcast sites on the web. Our first guest tonight was a Woolwich-born, well, he was Woolwich-born, and brought up on the terraces of the Den before he joined our youth set-up in 1976. He played alongside last week's guest, Dave Memmett, in the FA Youth Cup final of 78-79 against Manchester City and was a scorer of one of our 2 goals against them. From the youth team, he progressed into the first team where he played 36 games and scored a single goal. In 1981, he moved to Colchester United for a fee of £15,000. He stayed at Colchester until 1984. And when he made his, and that it was there, well, not when, but that it was there where he made his highest number of Football League appearances. From there he became a bit of a journeyman, but whilst playing for non-league Dulwich Hamlet, he re-signed for us as a non-contract player in 86-87 and played a further 11 games for us alongside his brother Nicky. My pa, that's not my father, but a team that's located in Finland followed. Then a short return to Colchester United. And then on to non-league Wivenhoe Town, where he made 211 appearances before hanging up his boots in 1995. He is a teacher in Colchester and a Liberal Democrat councillor on Colchester Borough Council. Known for that goal in the FA Youth Cup final and for his tough tackling, he has recently tackled COVID-19 too. We welcome to the show Phil Coleman.
Hello, Eamonn. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad.
Evening, everyone.
All right, Phil.
Evening, Phil. This is Jeff Burnige. How are you, mate?
Hello, Jeff. And I think, did you say there's Stan and Henry as well?
Yep. Henry's here.
Yeah.
Stan and Henry are here. They're
Good evening.
Hey, Phil.
They're
All right, Phil.
Yeah, everyone okay?
All good.
Yeah.
All good, mate.
Brilliant to be back on the show. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, we love you to be here as well, Phil. So that
Thanks,
ain't too bad. That ain't too bad. But before I let the team chat with you,
Yep.
tell us about how you overcome COVID-19.
For the first time in my life, I was probably praying a little bit. I got it from school, through my wife's school. Obviously, a student was diagnosed with it, passed it on to a teaching colleague who gave it to my wife, who brought it home to me. To be fair, I'd done really well. I'd gone from September right the way through to the 18th of December. And I remember saying to me mate, as we packed up on the last day, we dodged a bullet there, we've done great. Sanitising the tables and chairs every morning, cleaning all the footballs and the rugby balls and all the equipment that we were using. Daily task on top of the normal job. But we'd managed to train every day, teach, get the work done. And then the wife started to get a cough over the weekend, and that was the weekend before Christmas. She tested positive on the Wednesday, and I got a great Christmas present, 11 o'clock on Christmas Day, a positive test. That was the 25th. The next 4 or 5 days absolutely knocked me for six. I think it was about the Monday when I think, right, where am I going now? Where's this going? Am I going hospital? Am I going ventilator? Started touching wood. I had a little prayer. Didn't eat too much. Raging headache, like a migraine every single day, was shutting my brain down. I got out of the bath, Eamonn, and I was out of breath getting out of the bath. I couldn't breathe. My chest looked just like someone had put a skipping rope around it and had pulled it as tight as they could. I was lucky compared to some. I thank me lucky stars, I really do. About a week later, I came out of the isolation period, and I literally went for a walk about 600 yards up my road to the little shop to get a pint of milk, and I was absolutely out of breath. I couldn't breathe. I was absolutely knackered, and I couldn't even carry a pint of milk back home. The wife had to carry the pint of milk. I had nothing left in my muscles. And when I look at myself, I've got a resting heart rate of 57. I train every day. I'm a PE teacher. I join in all the time. I cycle hours, 2 hours, sometimes at weekends.
Yeah.
I do a weight session a couple of times a week. 15,000 steps a day. Most of my body, I'm a bit overweight. So I'm now looking at that and thinking, was that the reason why I got it? I've never had a cold and never had a flu in my life.
No.
Never been off sick. I've been off injured, but I've never been off with any illnesses. And I'm just thinking, well, it got me, and I feel so sorry for some of these poor people going through this misery. But I'm blessed. I'm lucky. And so
you still suffering with the breathlessness, Phil?
It's eased off this week, to be honest. This is the first week where I felt I could breathe properly with it's still there. If I take some really deep breaths, it's just niggling away. So, I'm 95. I'm nearly there, 95%. But I'm fine. I'm grateful.
Good luck to you, Phil. Glad you got through it.
Phil, I'm going first on the questions this week. But firstly, can I say what a relief it is to hear that you've beaten COVID, because what you've just said should serve as a warning to everybody listening. This is not something to be trifled with. Please wear masks, please do social distancing, give yourselves the best chance of avoiding this scourge. And if someone like you, Phil, can go down that ill for a month, it's been a month since you were ill, and it just shows it's not a thing to be taken lightly. Having said that, you were following Millwall as a youngster, weren't you, as a supporter? Whereabouts did you used to watch the game from at the old Den? I'm interested.
Right. Well, my first experience. Well, my dad was brilliant. He took us round. I can remember Boxing Days going to Fulham, and then Boxing Days going to Palace. Wherever he thought there was a half decent game on Boxing Day, that's where we went as 9 and 10-year-olds. But the first time I went on my own, I was about 13 years old, and I've gone to the Den. I went with my dad earlier on. I can't remember too much about the game, but I must have been about 10 years old. But on my own, as a 12, 13-year-old, with a few of my mates off the Ferrier, and we've climbed up the steps of the old Coldblow Lane end, and I've just looked at this green carpet, and I thought, bloody hell, this is good, and I'm on my own. And then I started looking around at some of these big blokes, and I didn't shit myself, but I thought, bloody, this is a different league here. I've managed to get halfway down the Coldblow Lane end, and then I took note, and I didn't really know who they were, but the big old floodlights were up there. Everybody was tough-looking, nasty people around me, and it just, this is all right. This is lovely. And then I saw these probably 4 players. I saw the goalkeeper, I saw the centre forward, and I saw the 2 centre backs. Brian King, Alf Wood diving all over the place, nutting the ball. Alan Dorney, graceful, solid, rugged, but then there was Big Kitch as well that just stood out. And that was my first memory, probably 72 or 73 season, 13 years old. And after that, we had a little wander around the halfway line, but I think the Coldblow Lane end was one where that stands out for me. It's the best place to stand as a kid. But great early memories.
So being, what a story, starting on the Ferrier estate in South East London and becoming a respectable school teacher in rural Suffolk, or is it Essex? It's somewhere down there anyway, but what a journey, Phil, what a journey.
I mean, people say to me, I mean, can we go on till about midnight tonight? And I'll just carry on. My family were born and bred on the Isle of Dogs, and somewhere around the Second World War they moved over to the Horn Park estate, and that's where I was brought up on the Horn Park estate. Went to the school, and then I went I had a fantastic schooling. But my primary school, we played football in the last 2 years, school games. So I'm thankful to that. I've then passed the 11 plus and gone on to a grammar school.
You went to the Rome, didn't you?
I went to the Rome Grammar School on Blackheath, opposite the main park there, the Greenwich Park.
You fell on your feet there, didn't you? You fell on your feet with that school.
I fell on my feet because it was a football-playing grammar school. And every single Saturday morning for 39 weeks of the year, we had school matches. So I played down at the Kibble Park Road, the playing fields opposite Sutcliffe Park there. Yeah. That was my home school pitches. And they were absolutely nuts. Every school teacher took a team. The head teacher came down and watched. I was lucky. After the first year, playing all over the team, some guy came up and went to me, I'm going to have a word with the teacher in charge of this team because you need to play centre-back. I didn't know him. Turns out it was Joe Broadfoot. He was an ex-student. And he used to get down there and watch all the games as an ex-student of the Rome. And he put a mention into the teacher. And, of course, he was highly respected. And about 13 years old, second year of schooling, I played centre-back. And the rest was history. We actually won the English Schools Trophy when I was 16. We won the under-18s. I had Gary Micklewhite next to me and David Campbell. Great story. We played in the final at St Peter's College in Birmingham, and our PE teacher and the head teacher had to phone Andy Nelson up, the Cheltenham manager, and asked for David Campbell to be released from the first team game that night to play in the Poxy School game, English Schools final, which he did because the school pulled it. And we won the English Schools. And that was my last school game. And I'd already been training with Arsenal, Cheltenham and Millwall as a youngster, as a 14, 15-year-old. And Billy Neal, I heard men talking about it last week. We were training down at Crofton Park as 14 and 15-year-olds, and Billy Neal was doing all the coaching down there and running us and keeping us fit and playing inside the Crofton Park Leisure Centre. And it got to about 15 years old, and I've played for Blackheath District and I've played for London, the county, and it was a guy, you remember, Ted Buxton, and he's knocked on my door, my mum and dad's door on Horn Park Estate, and he said, you're 15 now, I think it was 15 or 3 months, we'd like you to sign schoolboy forms. And I said, well, what's all that about? Well, you're not allowed to train with Arsenal or Cheltenham anymore, and you just tied into Millwall. And I went, give us a pen, Mum, quick. And I just signed it, and that was the end of that. My journey started. But when I moved out from my mum, I went and lived on the Ferrier. I had a flat on the Ferrier, and what a lovely community. Everyone looking out for each other. Oh, yeah, it was tough. But some fantastic people on that estate, and I had some good mates. And as I say, I had those mates from the age of 13, and then when I lived on the estate, I had my own flat there. And it was a tough old place, but they were all Millwall fans, which was nice. So I had Billy Neal a lot because obviously he took the training. And that signing of the schoolboy forms, it opened up another world, because I then went and trained during the school holidays. So I'm sort of 15 and I'm going down to Peak Freens, and there's kids training down there, and I think, did I see Potty and Weather? I don't know. Them sort of people were down there. Certainly Brian King. And then I remember Nicky Johns coming in and Ray Goddard. And every single school holiday, I'm just walking down to Peak Freens and I'm training and helping out with the kit and element, being in my element, 15 years old, around the first team. Absolutely brilliant. So that was the formative years.
That's how it all began. Henry, can you pull something out of that?
I mean, I can pull a lot. I mean, honestly, Phil, mate, lovely to meet you for the first time.
Cheers.
I grew up in Lewisham. I know the Ferrier so well. Some of those stories you're telling me, I know exactly where you're talking about, and I can just visualise it. And I actually went for I was a teacher myself. I actually went for my first job interview at what became John Roan. So I know. Wow. Yeah, I know a lot of what you're saying. And do you know what? It makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck when you talk about the Cold Blow Lane, because I think, I'm only 39 now, but, I saw the last season at the Old Den that I remember vividly, and I just remember that exact same thing that you're talking about, walking out onto that terrace and the people and the floodlights. I just wish I'd seen the team that you saw. Mind you, I suppose I saw Colin Cooper and Keith Stevens, Casey Keller, and but it's amazing to just hear what you're talking about there. Very evocative. Anyway, sorry, over to my question, mate. How did you become involved in the Millwall youth setup?
As I say, I'd done the training, I'd done the sort of schoolboy forms, and then Bob Pearson and Billy Neal, we were coming back from a tournament. I think it might have been in Belgium at the end of the season. I've just left school, and I got offered an apprenticeship, and give me the pen as quick as you can, signed it. And things just evolved from the age of 15, 16. I was at school and I'd been involved with the South East Counties team, and fair play to Billy. He'd give us some of us, Dave Memmett and myself. We were still at school and we're playing in the under 18s and around that sort of thing, and going down to the den as these young schoolboys and watching from behind the tunnel there in that little area. And all of a sudden it got serious. I'm in at 8 o'clock every day, cleaning the pros' boots, cleaning the kit, sweeping the terraces, putting the divots back on the pitch, mopping up, cleaning the baths, cleaning the toilets. But the beauty of it is we trained at least once or twice, sometimes a day. And in my first year, I said this to you the other day, Eamonn, we had a guy called Oscar Arthur. Oscar Arthur, Argentinian. And in the first year of my apprenticeship, and others will back me up, Dave Memmett and the Chrissy Dibbles of this world who I played with, he was unique, bloody unreal, springs to mind. Some of the stuff he got us doing in training probably was never being done anywhere in the world. Jeff might back me up here. I'm pretty certain that in that year, 77, they invested about £30,000 in a youth team. And this was sort of like before the academies kicked in. And for Millwall, that was a heck of a lot of money, I'm reasonably informed, just to invest in a bunch of sort of under 18 players. And I'm under 17 at the time, my first year apprenticeship of the 2 years. But Oscar would take us down to jump in an old Dormobile, that old Volkswagen blue Dormobile, and we went down to a garage in New Cross, and he came back with about 20 Jaguar big car tyres. We ain't got a clue what he's doing. Anyway, we've gone up on the dog track, as we used to train up there quite a bit. Imagine that nowadays. And he's laid the tyres on their tread, and he's put a ball next to each tyre, about 5 yards apart. And he went, go on, Phil, tackle all the top. So I've tackled the ball against the car tyres. And then you stand them all up again, and then Alan McKenna goes and smashes them, and then everyone's gone through and tackled all these car tyres, tackling practice against car tyres with a ball next to it on the tyre wall. What else did he do? Oh yeah, we had the pros after training. They used to have hand-rolled cheese roll and a cup of tea. Oscar would take us down to New Cross to the fish and chip shop. We'd all have fish and chips and chicken and chips every day. Talk about fattening us up for the first team. he sort of like looked after us. He was our dad, if you like. And the first team would go over to places like Crystal Palace, and the first team would be running around the 400-metre track at Crystal Palace. We'd be in the underground and the undercover five-a-side, and we'd all have a tennis ball, and we'd be juggling a tennis ball for an hour and a half. I kid you not. The first team are lapping the track, and we're juggling tennis balls. And
what about them cardboard cutouts, Phil?
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. So he's got the groundsman, a couple of bit slabs of 4x2 to make what I think was the first ever portable wall in the country, because nobody had ever seen one. I'd never seen one. So he got the 4x2s and cut the base out. Then he got some hardboard, and he's put up this big square of hardboard, and he's cut out the heads, 4 heads, and bolted it all together, nailed it all together, and he's got a portable wall. And he's gone to the bins, the old wheelie bins, out by the car park in the Cold Blow Lane end, and he's taken the casters, the groundsman, off these and put them on the 4x2 underneath. So we've got this wall that we can wheel about. So we've decided at Oscar that we're going to have about 2 hours bending a ball round the wall. And that was our training session. You either juggled a ball for 2 hours or you bent a ball round this portable wall for 2 hours. Well, everyone's hit one, ping, the wood's come off. Chrissy Dibble's hit one of this carved out head, the head's come off. And when the binman turned up the next day to get the bins, they couldn't lift the bloody bins because we got the casters on the portable wall. So he was unique, Oscar. And he also backed us to the hill. He was one of these blokes. If we mucked up, he took the can for it to the manager, and it was George Petty. And I had so much time for George. But I'll give you a story how Oscar backed us up. We've played Ipswich on a Friday night in the Southern Junior Floodlit final. Another cup we won, I think. And we didn't get back to the den till about midnight on the Friday. Time I got home must have been about 12:30. Others had to go home to East Ham, and I think people went to Reading, Norwich and Gailey. And we had to play the next morning. The South East Counties League wouldn't call the game off the next morning, so we had to kick off at Langley Park at 11 o'clock against Gillingham. Well, we're absolutely knackered. You know, we've had a tough game. Went to extra time the night before, against Ipswich, who had a really good side as well. They were one of the top youth teams with us. Anyway, at half time, we're 5-0 down. Now, bearing in mind, we've got a top quality side out there. Quite a few have played in the first team. We had 2 own goals, 2 penalties against, and I think Ian Gale just lost the plot, kicked out, and he got sent off. So we're 5-0 down at half time, and we've got 10 players. Oscar's called us into the team talk at half time. He went, in his South American accent, just doing the keep ball. Well, we've been doing it all year. Every single training session with a ball was a keep ball. You pass the pants off the opposition, and when you got Tony Kinsella, Dave Memmott, Kevin O'Callaghan, Chrissy Dibble, Ian Gale, these people could pass the pants off anybody. In the second half, and this, I'm not bullshitting you at all, we kept the possession for the whole game. We had 10 players, and they kept their goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs and a full-back back, so we outnumbered them something like 10-7, and we kept possession for the whole of the second half. And I swear to God, I had the ball underneath my own crossbar on the goal line, and I played a 1-2 with Peter Glazier around the Gillingham striker, and Peter Glazier was on the penalty spot. He was a goalkeeper. And we played keep ball the whole second half. In the end, the referee reported us to the league for not taking the game seriously. And George Petty's called us in and said, what the hell's going on here? And Oscar put his hand up and said, that was my instructions. I'll take full blame for it. But yeah, we lost the first half 5-0 and then just played keep ball for the whole of the second half, 0-0.
What a man. What a man.
Honestly, Oscar, he was fantastic. He juggled a ball once over at Richardson Evans, where I think Wimbledon used to train. We shared it pre-season. He juggled a ball from the furthest back pitch. That's about half a mile through the woods, and he juggled this ball, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, half a mile to the pavilion. He went up the 5 or 6 steps. He went into the change rooms, still juggling it, flicked it up, caught it on the back of his neck and went, hey! And we just fell about like just half a mile of juggling, never put the ball down once. Unbelievable bloke. Great coach. Yeah, amazing. Completely unique and different, and that set us up. The following year, Davy Payne came in. It was a bit more traditional and a bit of shape and a bit organised and defend properly and get your crosses in. And the team was put together. Bob Pearson, Ted Buxton, Billy Neal, Oscar Arthey, Dave Payne, and as you know, we won the FA Youth Cup the following year. But great setup, loved it.
Yeah, Stan.
Well, I mean, how do you follow that? But
Stan, I've got loads, mate. No,
I don't doubt that. I mean, I'll tell you something though. I was listening to you when you were saying about the when you were suffering from the COVID, and I know it's just. I mean, I'd be interested. I suspect I know what you would say. Now you've been one of the unfortunate ones. You suffered with this COVID, and it sounded, horrendous. What would if some bloke come up to you in the street, not knowing who you was and not knowing that you'd suffered from COVID, and told you this was all fake news and it was some great conspiracy and all this crap? I should imagine you'd give him a full salvo, wouldn't you?
He'd be out cold in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess you would say that because. Unfortunately, we got them sort of people around, and I know one or two of them. And
well, I've had a row with one or two on Facebook. Friends I went to school with, they're friends. I don't really know them, but they're just saying it's all fake news. The walls are not really empty. It's just a normal winter virus. Yeah. I've come out of South East London, born in Woolwich, Isle of Dogs family, Orme Park Estate, Ferrier, passed 11 plus, went to grammar school. Did what I did, qualified as a PE teacher, got a degree. I'm also a Colchester Borough Councillor. So I have to be careful what I say sometimes.
No, I know, I get that. No, I understand all that.
But it doesn't stop me spraying a few people. I've done it in a shop a few months ago. Why do you wearing a mask? You're letting us all down. And they look at you as if you're mad.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got to be a little bit careful, but yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things when you was talking about you went to John Roan School and who was in it, you happened to mention my nephew, which is Gary Micklewhite.
Oh, he's my best mate. Honestly, his best mate. Yeah, we sat together for 5 years at school. We played for the school team, had a great successful team there. He went off on a Friday to Man United and I was at Millwall.
That's right.
We played for Blackheath together, we played for London together, and when it came to leaving school, he got offered a deal at Man United and I got offered a deal at Millwall. And he should have come with me, really.
Yeah, no, he's driving his black cab now, and he's doing okay.
I'll keep tabs on him. He's a great lad. We speak coffee.
That's right. Yeah,
we go out together. He's great.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, this Oscar guy. Now, I was listening quite intently because I was reading that book recently, what Merv Payne wrote, the book about you guys. And when I got to this bloke Oscar, and I'm sitting there reading all this, and the thing that struck me with him, I mean, all right, he might have been, if not, he may not have been original in the conventional sense, but. I was listening to it and I was reading it, and there was some of the people was, they were sort of saying, Merv, that when he turned up with these tennis balls and doing what he was doing initially, some of you guys thought, well, this bloke's lost the plot here. You know what I mean? And it's only like when it all suddenly, he was going along with it all suddenly fit. I mean, the geezer sounded, today, he would be considered a revolutionary coach, wouldn't they? And all this sort of thing. So, from what I've read and what you said, he was clearly ahead of his time at the time. I mean, no question of that at all.
In 77, don't get me wrong, Dave Memmott was juggling the tennis ball. Like, I couldn't keep it up for love nor money. In the end, I probably tackled the wall. But people like Callie, Tony Kinsella, they were juggling the tennis ball. It was right up their street. Chrissy Dibble flicking it up, catching it on the back. These guys had unbelievable skill. For young kids, they were. But when you look at our youth team overall, we could play with a table. We could play with a tennis ball. We could pass the pants off teams. We could play that stuff. But then you look back and you say, well, we had Dave Martin, Paul Roberts, me, Alan McKenna, Paul Robinson. We had some steel in the side, and Menman put his foot in. So we could actually bash teams up if we wanted to as well. But Oscar, in terms of the South American and the skill and some innovative thinking, absolutely, that was a great year. That was a great year. Not for me, because I couldn't juggle. I didn't have the ability of Dave Memmott. God grief, but I had my role within the side, and I knew what that was.
Yeah, I mean, you was talking about, when you first went to the Den in the 70s, and it was, and you stood there and whatever, and I get all that, right? The difference being, and the 70s was okay, but unfortunately, you was a little bit late, and that's not your fault, because when I was growing up, the time and for me, And I used to, my best mate Billy Nunn used to come. I mean, it opened his eyes. But the Den in the 60s was at its zenith. I mean, it's never been anything like it. I mean, you got near it, I think, in 72 when they nearly got up. That was the nearest it come. But in the 60s, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Packed.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is that you could go into the Den, then you could walk through whatever entrance you come in, and you could walk right way underground. And none of these railings and bars that got in the way and all that. But I mean, in the 60s with Keith Weller there, and then you had Posse, and then you had Len Julians, and I mean, you could sit there. I mean, the only thing that's a shame is the fact a lot of that ain't on film. You get little clips and all that, but I mean, in the Den in the 1960s was a special time. I mean, and it's never been bettered, in my opinion. But
standing in his halcyon days, Phil.
Absolutely,
halcyon days, no doubt about
it. Being on the pitch, from about 77, and obviously I made my debut in 79, end of the 79 season. You could have 3,000 fans at the Den, and to me that was a buzz. That was the manna from heaven. That's my pack. I'm actually a fan playing in the first team next to Barry Kitchener, Phil Walker, these sort of people. And later on, there were some top quality pros that came in to try and back us up. But to just be playing at the Den, I mean, it's a fan's dream, isn't it? People pay £1,000. I mean, charity. I'll play.
I'm going to stop you there, Stan, because time's running out again.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, Phil, he comes on, and that 30 minutes evaporates in front of our eyes. We've got a list of questions.
We'll have to have him back. Yeah,
we'll have him back for round 2. I'll get the same team in, and we'll have round 2 of that. Phil, it's been absolutely brilliant to listen to you once again this evening. Delighted that you've got over, or you're getting over, your challenges from COVID. You'll have to come back again, but before you go, can you give us a prediction for our trip to Cardiff at the weekend?
Oh, tough game. On a good day, right, at the moment for me, Millwall's first team, when they all pull together, when it all clicks, we can beat anybody in the side. We've beaten Norwich. We've beaten some of the best teams. Great performance against Bournemouth. It's a consistency. We're very hard to beat. We've just got to now start to move it forward into the front end of the pitch. We all know, most fans see what I'm seeing, but it's a consistency. You're talking about a tough league where everyone can beat everybody else. Millwall Football Club has got no right to win any game. So you set up to try and not get beat, and I can see what Gary Rowett's doing. Consistency, people in form, people not carrying injuries. I'm not sure whether there's one or two players might be carrying a bit of COVID, and trust me, that might knock them. But I'd probably say minimum is a draw. Catching Cardiff in a changeover period with a new manager, you go down there and expect to win. We're hard to beat. That's the good thing. I mean, it's a tough league. Everybody can beat everybody, and we're sitting 10 points out of the relegation. 10 points from the top. Personally, staying in this league to me is an achievement. Budgets, crowds, you name it. There's all sorts of factors against us. Staying in the league is an achievement. I don't want to be going into Division 1 watching Rochdale. I'd sooner be watching these top teams, Watford and these guys. So stay in the league, keep building, keep progressing. We've got some better players in from 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Not seen the new guy that signed this week, but if you just keep chipping away, Cardiff, go there positive, try and get a result, don't get beat, another point on the road or 3. But I think we're hard to beat. That's the good thing, So just be positive. But there's so much goes into a game. The opposition might change their tactics. You're never quite sure what the opposition is going to do with a new manager. But
before you go, Phil, this is Jeff. I've got to say that is the longest result prediction we've ever had on this programme. Normally, I think we'll win 1-0. No, Phil Coleman, he's got to go into he's written a chapter in answer to that.
Jeff, throughout my football career, I thought we'd win every game 5-0. I absolutely thought, no matter what game it was, whether I was playing on a Sunday on a park pitch or whether I was playing at the Millwall away to Brighton or something. So I'm going to 5-0 Millwall because I'm always that way.
You're catching up with Henry. You're catching up with Henry. Phil, lovely to have you on again. We'll let have you back. There's so much more that's got to come on, and we're really looking forward to speaking to you again. Take care.
Yeah, no
Look
problem.
after yourself, your family, everything else.
Yep.
We'll see you again.
Cheers, Phil.
Cheers, Phil. Bye for now.
Cheers.
Right, that was lovely speaking to Phil there, but we're going to listen to Kai Bennett now.
Hello, I'm Kai. I run Millwall Fan TV. I have done for about a year and a half now. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you just search in Millwall Fan TV, I should come up. You can also find me on YouTube at Millwall Fan TV. I do pre-match predictions, post-match analysis and full-time reaction. I also try to do as many interviews on ex-Millwall players. I've done about 10 so far and I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, it's Millwall Fan TV. All your support is always massively appreciated. Thank you.
Our man from the transfer desk, Kai Bennett.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Henry Morgan. Our second guest tonight lives in Welling. He first engaged with the Lions as a child when his father brought him to the den, and he kicked cans around with other kids at the bottom of the terraces. But his love for Millwall grew and grew and grew. When the pandemic began, he volunteered to work with the London ambulance services, but was subsequently struck down with a condition that required surgery, and life has not been the same since. But that has not stopped him doing something. He's appeared on TV and radio since in relation to his fundraising for the London Ambulance Service NHS Trust. This past week, we have also heard that Sean is awarded the Heart of Gold Award for being an inspiration in the community. Let's welcome someone whose efforts are so commendable. Let's say hello to Sean Ash.
Hello, everyone.
All right, Sean.
Hello, Sean. Hi, Sean.
Evening, Sean.
How's everyone doing?
We're doing okay. What about you, mate?
Oh, mate, I've got another chapter to bring to you.
Oh. That'll be, yeah, well, if you can do the chapters tonight, you can join in with everybody else because they can't stop talking. None of them.
Yeah, no, so I've heard. I'll try not to go over the top. I think you've pretty much summed everything up now.
Yeah, well, that was just the beginning.
Well, that was quick.
Sean, it's great to have you on the show, but tell listeners what happened to you and how life has actually changed for you.
Okay, so for a very long time I've been suffering with a back problem. You probably hear lots of people say, "Oh, my back," and there's probably days they can't get out of bed. But mine obviously developed into something a bit more severe. So it's called cauda equina syndrome. And basically the disc has slipped out of the socket and it's compressed onto the spinal cord so hard that it's left me with paralysis below the waist. So this has left me with bladder and bowel and sexual dysfunction. It's left me not being able to move or feel my feet. Halfway up my legs I can't feel as well. It's also left a massive mental health scar in my brain, kind of basically going through the trauma of everything. There's a lot of issues to kind of deal with attached with this condition. And again, I didn't even know what cauda equina syndrome was at the time. I mean, when you're in hospital and they start chucking Latin at you, you just kind of crap your pants, and literally I did. So there was nurses on hand to look after me with that. But yeah, this is a serious condition, and if I could name someone that's kind of famous, so Duncan from Blue has recently been in the newspapers because he had the same condition as well. But luckily I think he didn't get as far down the line as I did. So he's quite fortunate, but if it does get worse, you can be left with permanent paralysis.
Goodness.
Good help us. Sean, Stan here, I mean, but the first question I was going to ask you is, I mean, this condition that you've got, I mean, how did you get it? What I'm saying is, I mean, how did it appear? If that's the right word.
Yeah. So you're right, Stan. So about 12, 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with something called degenerative disc disease. Mm-hmm. So basically, this means that the disc is wearing away. Now, obviously, We're all getting older. None of us are getting any younger. So our discs are wearing away, and but mine have obviously worn away a bit before their time. So one of the discs has popped out of its socket, and so it could happen to any one of us. I mean, all it takes is an injury or anything to happen, and this could happen to you. You know, if you're getting sciatica down your leg, if you're having saddle anesthesia where you wipe and you can't feel anything, like they're serious symptoms that you definitely need to go and check with the hospital straight away immediately. There's actually a 24-hour window to operate from when you notice the first sign.
Ah, right. Oh, okay. Anyway, the question the question I meant to ask you first was, what was it that drew you to join the London Ambulance Service?
Well, to be honest with you, there was a few services that I was going to join. So I was going to join the army, and then I was going to join. I know I'm probably going to get digged at here. I was going to join the police, and I got turned down from that because I got a criminal record. So, from my younger days, it's kind of weird because when you're a youngster and you do silly things in your teens, it hangs on you for another 20, 30 years. But the London Ambulance Service took me in, and they was like, "Yeah, we like you and everything." And I took some assessments, and that was it. Then I was in the control room taking 999 calls.
And you've never looked back?
I've never looked back. I absolutely love my job. It's absolutely amazing.
Sean, Henry here, mate.
Hello, Henry.
Now I hear that now you're walking in aid of the London Ambulance Service and NHS Trust. Can you tell us what this requires you to do and how we can contribute to your cause?
Yeah, so basically, this is the charitable trust within the service, and that money goes on supporting volunteers. Obviously, during the pandemic, we've relied on lots of volunteers. So this money obviously goes into supporting volunteers so they can help us. Also, it goes into supporting staff, obviously, because staff morale gets low. If you can imagine that you're taking a call, one call after the other, and one might be a cardiac arrest, and then next one, someone's died, and, it does hit us as well. So we've got to look after ourselves. So the service puts a lot of kind of funding into mental health assistance for us. And other ways to keep us happy, really, like they bring in the biscuits and stuff. So this will literally help strengthen the service and keep my colleagues, keep them boosted so they can take all these calls, basically, as well as help supporting volunteers. And you can support by going on Just Giving. And if you search my name, Sean Ash, and that's SEANASH, or if you go on Google and just put Sean Ash NHS, apparently I'm top of the Google list on that one. So I'm trending.
You are.
So, Sean, it's lovely to speak to you again after so long. It's Jeff here, mate.
Jeff, it's been a long time.
I haven't been following your story, so I'm finding things out tonight that I didn't know. But presumably, are you actually walking, or do you have you had surgery to relieve the situation, or what is your current condition?
Okay, so I had a laminectomy and a discectomy. So the laminectomy is they remove some bone, and a discectomy is they remove the disc. I've not had a replacement or any disc fusion or anything like that. It's just been left as it is. But basically, because of the cauda equina syndrome, I've lost a lot of muscle. I've lost a lot of strength. So if I was to try and stand up on my own, I'd fall straight over. So pretty much when I'm doing this walk, most of the walking is actually being done by my arms holding my body weight up, and me just bending my knee and kind of moving them forward, because obviously I can't feel my feet, and that's the scary part, because obviously you've got to have this proprioception of where your feet's going when you're moving them. So it's a lot harder than it actually seems.
So you're not on sticks or anything. You can do this.
Well, I can't use sticks. If I tried to use crutches, and literally I nearly fell over with them, so I'm using a Zimmer frame.
Very sad to hear that you've had this degeneration, and you scared me. I get a bit of sciatica. I'm going to get mine checked out, I tell you. But let's go back to you as a Millwall fan rather than as a medical case. If I remember rightly, you're from around the Dockhead area, aren't you? Top end of Jamaica Road, that kind of area. That's a good Millwall bit of ground, isn't it, up there? What are your earliest memories? What are your earliest memories of the players and the teams at the Den when you when you were first kicking cans around?
I'll never forget when my dad and my cousin Brian, they took me up to Hull. You know that famous Hull game where we got promoted?
Yeah.
So I was at that game, and that's my earliest memory that I can remember, is because sheer fact is that the drive was so long and I just was so bored in the back of the car. I mean, for adults, it might have seemed like obviously a 4 or 5 hour drive, but to me, it felt like it was 2 weeks in the back of that car.
How old were you? How old were you then?
So what would I have been then? I would have been about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Something like that. I was born 1981. So, yeah, I would have been about 7 or 8. But, I remember Sheringham, Cascarino. They were my favourites at the time. And I just remember...
They did you a big favour taking you to that game. I mean, that's one of the greatest moments in Millwall's history, isn't it? I hope you can... even as a young man, you've kept that memory because
I've always kept that memory, and in fact, Eamonn was at that game as well. And we just found out the other day we were both at that game, and that's the nice thing is that when you meet someone and you're like, yeah, I was there as well. Like we're talking 30 years ago, you know, like we was both at the same place at the same time, you know, and we've only just met now. Like it's a nice feeling.
No, memories are great shared. Even Jeff was there, funnily enough.
I've got the video. I've got the video that Hull City produced. It's the best-selling video they had all season because thousands were bought by Millwall fans.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've got my video. I've still got it on VHS, would you believe? And I've got it where you put it on and it starts 1 minute from the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's the bit I watched.
That's the best part.
It wasn't the greatest of games, was it? There was a job to be done and we did it.
We did it. Yeah. That was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Classic memories. And you know what? I think that's kind of how I'm seeing it with this, with what I'm going through, you know, like I'm just doing it. I'm just getting on with it. And I've got that kind of, I was lucky to be brought up on that Millwall spirit, you know, like, you know, there's times, I'm a man, I'm going to break down and stuff, but I'm going to keep going, you know, and everything that kind of, the way we're playing this season and stuff, I mean, we started off quite all right, to be honest with you, and then things kind of just started to decline as it usually does. But one thing is, I know for a fact that we'll always bounce back, you know, if we go down, if we go up, you know, but we will bounce back, and we just got to be aware of that and resilient and just support the team, really.
We'll have to get that proper blokes club to come along and have a bit of a walk with you. They'll give you a bit of a fillip. I'll tell you what, I heard from Millwall Football Club spokesperson today that plans are afoot to get you to go to the ground to do part of your walk. How great is that? What can you tell us?
So, again, I've just found this out, but I'm going to be going down there on Tuesday.
Excellent.
Apparently, I'm replacing someone up front.
Well, how bad
I'm only joking.
You never know.
With my Zimmer frame, yeah. No, so I'm going to go down there on Tuesday. Obviously, I can't go down right before the game because of the EFL rules and everything. They need a few hours, obviously COVID-free and stuff. They've got to be careful. But I'm going to go down there about 1 o'clock, and I'm going to lap the pitch and. I'm just talking to the BBC producers. They're talking about coming down as well and potentially going on the 1:30 live bulletin on BBC One.
Fantastic.
So hopefully this will be some positive press that Millwall, you know, we need this because do you know what? The club has come under scrutiny lately, but the club does so much for charity and it does so many wonderful things. And I just don't think that's highlighted enough. You know, it's always like you get the one little thing wrong and it's like turned into a big thing and no one's mentioning all the positive and good things the club does. So I really do hope that they do get down there on Tuesday and I hope that they can see the positive stuff coming from the club.
That'd be fantastic to see.
Well, Sean, when I go on iFollow to get the team announcement an hour before the game, I'll be looking to see if Ash is down there amongst the substitutes. Maybe you can score a goal.
You never know.
Well, that was the original plan. The plan was actually for me to do the lap, and then I was going to go on the pitch, and then I was going to kick the ball in the net. God knows that, because I can't feel my feet. The idea is that for disabled people in sport, we have to kind of go around the houses in order to participate, the struggles that we have to go through to get onto the pitch kind of thing. That was what I wanted it to signify, but obviously at the minute the club don't want anyone on the pitch.
No, I understand.
Especially me, because I might take some turf home. So, but that would have been a lovely memory. It would have been a lovely memory to go on the pitch and score a goal. That would just be my dream come true. So.
Wait till things get back to normal.
Oh, I look forward to that.
One way or another. Sean, it's absolutely been wonderful to speak with you. But before we say until the next time, because we want you to come back and tell us how all of this is going, it's a tradition to ask all guests for a prediction for the next game. So what do you think the score will be when the Lions go to Cardiff City this weekend?
It's going to be a tough game. Very tough. The thing is, I don't want to say a draw, because we've had enough draws, and I definitely don't want to say a loss, because we've had a few of them as well. But obviously,
win, mate.
Yeah, I know. The thing is that it's kind of a cliche to say, yeah, we're going to win, you know, and then we end up losing. And everyone's like, oh, Sean said we was going to win, he jinxed it, you know. That's why I never bet on Millwall. I never bet on them, because otherwise I end up jinxing it. But I honestly, despite all that, I think we'll win. So I'm gonna say 2-1.
2-1 to the Lions? Well, that's reasonable, good enough. That'll do me, for sure. Look, Sean, thanks very much. We wish you, your family and friends all the best for the future, and we're going to keep our tabs on you. And we hope that your continued endeavours for the London Ambulance NHS Trust are rewarded with many more donations and more. Take care. It's lovely to have had you on. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, you Lions.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, cheers, Sean.
Take care, Sean. See you, mate.
See ya.
If you can help Sean help the London Ambulance Service NHS Trust, just put Sean Ash, Just Giving, into your browser and a link will pop up at the top of the page and you can make a donation. Come on, one and all, help him make a big difference. We're going to take a break there before we talk about Fantastic Fanatics. But for now, here's Bethany Warren talking about Be My Eyes.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Print image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
Hi, I'm Eamonn Barclay and I'm back with the No One Likes Us talking team of Stan Godwin, Henry Morgan and that one and only Jeff Burnige. Now that Be My Eyes is one hell of an app, I tell you. I've had some good experiences with it, and we'd like to know from you, the fans, if you've been using it, and if you have, we'd like you to contact us at studio@noonelikesUstalking.com and tell us your story. And George has promised that what he'll do is that he'll send you some No One Likes Us Talking memorabilia so that you can have a nice key ring or something like that. It'll be very good, I'm sure. Anyhow, so get putting your stories together if you've been on the app and tell us all about it. That's studio@noonelikesUsTalking.com, and talking is without a G. Let's have your answers in. We have a duo of guests coming up next tonight. Barry Munro, who's the Operations Director and co-founder of Fantastic Fanatics, and Steve Marsters, who works with him. Barry's personal and professional goals are very similar: to help generate funds for sport, and in this case, the amazing Millwall FC Community Trust. Based in Scotland, he would love to come down to the Den to catch a Millwall game when fans are back at the Den. Barry built up Fantastic Fanatics from scratch after being made redundant in the oil industry. Launched in September 2019 and now has many professional clubs signed up to the platform. He describes himself as a huge sport fan and will watch and play anything from squash to cricket. And not only that, he's represented Scotland at under 18 level at football. Mind you, he did hesitate and say, well, that was a good few years ago. Welcome, Barry and Steve. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Eamonn.
No, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Before I go any further with the gang, can you tell us a little bit more, Barry, about why you started Fantastic Fanatics?
Absolutely, Eamonn. It's actually quite simple. My pal of mine, he's a real ideas guy, and he got in touch in mid-2018 with this idea, which I bought into right away. So basically, there's two main reasons for starting Fantastic Fanatics. One is we got a little bit frustrated up here in Scotland with the amount of money circulating in the English Premiership. And we thought, what could we do for every other club at every other level to deliver a new revenue stream to them that crucially has no cost to the club and no extra cost to the fans. The other sort of more of a grassroots level was that funding cuts in sport have been going on for quite a few years now, and I can't see that getting any better under current circumstances. No. So that was the sort of second reason why we wanted to drive Fantastic Fanatics forward, and basically generate money for any sports club at any level.
No, that's good reasoning.
Yeah, hi Barry, Stan here, mate. Maybe
Stan.
You can describe how Fantastic Fanatics works and how Millwall FC can support the community trust through the platform.
Certainly will, Stan, and nice to meet you. Yeah, basically, we signed up with the Millwall Community Trust. We've been talking with Stuart Locke, Sean Daly, and Peter Farney many times over the last recent months. We're delighted that we've signed them up to the Fantastic Fanatics platform. But the fans, it's really straightforward. All they need to do really is go to fantasticfanatics.com. Choose Millwall Football Club as the club they want to support. They basically register with a few details and securely link their everyday debit and credit cards. Basically, thereafter, whenever they shop with Fantastic Fanatics retail partners, that generates a commission that comes back to the community trust. So basically, the club or the trust is getting paid. Is getting paid each time the fans shop with our retail partners, and it doesn't cost the fan anything more, and it's as I say, it's completely free to use. So why wouldn't you?
No, it's fair enough.
Hey Barry, Henry here, mate. Who are those partners that you talked about? So where can Millwall fans, for example, shop to generate funds for the community trust?
Well, we are essentially in England, online platform. Up in Scotland, we do have in-store offerings. However, we really thought we'd have lots of offerings in England in terms of in-store partners as well. However, COVID-19 has put the brakes on all of that for now, unfortunately. But we will get there with that. But at the minute, we've still got 850 online retail partners that work with us. So you've got all your big brands in there, from B&Q to JD Sports, John Lewis, Marks and Spencer, Foot Asylum, Foot Locker, and the list goes on and on and on. But all the big brands are on there, and some local independent ones as well, which tend to give away a bit more in terms of commissions, because they want to eat into market share of the bigger brands. But yeah, we're really hoping that we can very soon offer a lot more in terms of in-store partners in and around Millwall, of course, or Lewisham, etc., South London, and basically give the fans the biggest and best choice of where and how to generate funds for the Millwall Community Trust.
Fantastic.
Good evening, both of you. It's Jeff Burnige here. Just wondering, the clubs that have been most successful with Fantastic Fanatics, how have they chosen to promote it to their supporter base? Are there any top tips you can give Millwall to get maximum value from the platform?
Absolutely, Jeff. Of course, there's actually, I'd like to say that the more the club or trust or foundation put in, the more they're going to get out. It's quite simple, maths like that. And there's a clear divide between proactive clubs and passive clubs in terms of fundraising and club funds earned. So, what we've learned in the journey so far, that it has to be quite a consistent message, frequent message, but using as much channels as possible. So fan databases, social media channels through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even LinkedIn. Even when we come down into sort of lower levels, grassroots sport, WhatsApp, text. We've got all these fantastic ways to communicate now in the modern age. So it's a case of just using these channels and putting out good content. And the great thing is Fantastic Fanatics provide a lot of the content, from flyers to news, to posters, whatever all the case, can all be downloaded from the site as well. So yeah, there's so many ways, but it's really important that there's a frequent message that does go out to the the fans or members or the participants, no matter what sport it is.
Great stuff.
Yeah, hello, Steve.
Hiya, Stan.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Fantastic Fanatics is a new platform, but who else are you in partnership with, and are there any particular success stories to speak of yet?
Yeah, I mean, we're still very much early into sort of the current roadmap, but I mean, just to give you a heads up, so Middlesbrough came on board just before Christmas, and they're pushing the boundaries out at the moment in terms of regular communication to their sort of fans and their members. As a result of that, we got Newcastle United who are also interested coming on board. This must be a northeast thing, certainly for us, and then getting one or two other clubs. And this doesn't really just move into football. We're involved with many other sports outside of football. There's cricket we're involved with netball, we're involved with hockey, we're involved with rugby. So, there are many other sports. But Northern Ireland's been quite a successful area for us, funny enough. This wasn't really on our strategic plan initially from day one, but we've reached out to quite a number of different teams in NIFL, Northern Ireland Football League, Crusaders Football Club, being very successful. They had about sort of 150 members sign up in the first day. But this is as a result of sort of good communication from the club. They reached out to all their members, all their fans, through social media, through an email campaign, and they've regularly pushed it on match days out to the fans. So, it very much goes down to, the reach from the clubs. They've got the bigger reach than what we have. We can push it as much as we can through our own social media channels, but we very much try and encourage the clubs to reach out to their fans as much as possible and as frequent as possible. Because naturally, when we do launch, you get a good spike, and then it might tail off a little bit, and then you get another spike again as a result of another message. So it's just that constant flow of messaging out to the fans, and also competitions that we run. We do run regular competitions with clubs who are very active about sort of signed shirts, and we encourage people to enter into competitions to to win a signed shirt from the chosen club, on the basis of people signing up to the platform and then people spending. Because the only way the club's going to benefit from this platform is by the transaction which you made, which naturally leads to commissions for the chosen club then.
We'll have to get our George on that one, Stan. He'll be able to give some of the old key rings and memorabilia away.
Oh, yeah, that'd be right up his street.
That's it. That's it.
Steve, it's Henry here, mate.
Hi, Henry.
Hey, I'm told you're running a competition sort of in line with what you're saying with the club. Have you got any details about that competition and what it's all about?
Yeah, we're looking at sort of a signed shirt competition, which we're looking to start off from next month. So this will be a shirt signed by the team, and during the month of February, we're looking to encourage people to obviously sign up to the platform and to spend. So it's the person that ultimately raises the most money for the club will naturally win that shirt. So it's like effectively it's like a race to the end really in terms of who can raise the most money for Millwall Trust. So that's looking to be launched next month.
That sounds
thereafter. Sorry, thereafter
Sorry, go on.
Thereafter, there's one or two other competitions we've got in place as well. So we've got Scott Malone, obviously one of the key first team players. He's wearing a football brand called Lotto at the moment, which is we're working with Lotto to try and get some boots that we'll donate to the club, signed by Scott Malone. Again, he'll run a similar sort of thing as a competition to enter into, sign up, and then whoever's going to raise the most money in that month of X will win the pair of boots signed by Scott Malone.
I'll tell you what, if you can get him a new wardrobe, Steve, that might do us a favour. He's well commented about what he wears, so yeah,
that's
that might be one.
Because that's the next competition. You can win his old wardrobe. So
yeah.
Well, it's Jeff back here again. Now that's really good to hear that, Barry and Steve. But you say you're in Scotland, but at least one of you's got an accent that doesn't sound very Scottish to me.
Yeah, that's myself, Jeff. That's myself.
Yeah, I would like to know what team you both support.
Barry?
Well, I'm obviously Millwall, south of the border.
Well done.
But no, I'm an Aberdeen fan for my sins, which was great back in
Stand free.
Yeah, indeed, very, very much so. Stand free wherever you may be. We are the famous Aberdeen. But yeah, it was great when I was a kid, growing up with Sir Alex Ferguson at the helm. Haven't seen the glory days for many a year, but yeah, we'll keep trying.
What about Steve?
Myself, Jeff. I'm a football fan. Naturally, I also follow a team up in Royal Blue Jersey in Merseyside, and it's not Liverpool. So naturally, it's Everton.
I'm very pleased to hear that. Very pleased to hear that. That is the team that people that are from the centre of Liverpool support.
Exactly.
The other ones they've got all the hangers on, haven't they?
They all travel from North Wales or London or whatever. So if you're an Everton fan, you live within the city or just outside the city.
We were very pleased when Tim Cahill chose to go to Everton. It meant we could still identify. But look, moving on from that, you both need to give us a prediction for the result when the Lions head to Cardiff City on Saturday. Mm-hmm. What is yours, Barry?
Well, I do follow Millwall a bit, and of course Cardiff and Millwall would want to be a bit higher up the league. I think that's clear, but I think Cardiff are on a worse run at the minute, quite a poor run. So I'm going to say Millwall are going to edge it in a cagey encounter, 1-0.
Good man.
Steve, any different to that, or the same?
I mean, as Barry kind of sort of alluded to at the moment, I think there's only one place between you and Cardiff at the moment, and they've just recently sacked their manager. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at their stadium. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
That's reasonable as well.
I'm sitting on the fence, I think, on that one. Because I think, both teams obviously need the points to get out of that sort of, second half of the table. So, I'm hedging my bet on a 1-1 draw.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant, guys. And thanks, Barry and Steve, for coming on, explaining all about Fantastic Fanatics, which I signed up to today with. I'm in there, but I haven't left my debit card. I haven't left me debit card details, so you can't spend anything yet.
Okay, we'll keep nudging you.
Keep nudging me. But if you have any updates, let us know. You know how to get hold of us. Our man Stan will absolutely promote you top, middle and bottom, because he is a man that is right behind the Millwall Community Trust every day of the week.
Fantastic.
And he'll be there. So until next time, and you'll have to come back with us as the project goes on and give us another chat. We'll say bye for now and thanks for telling us what it's all about.
Thanks,
Thank
Eamonn.
you so much for having us on,
Henry
guys.
and Jeff. Great
Thanks, gents.
Thanks, guys. Good luck on the weekend. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Let's be hopeful, as they say. We will take a break now and listen in overview to what the Fantastic Fanatics is all about.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
Right, so the rest of us, we'll all sign up tomorrow. And the percentages is right. I mean, it's good. And they've got a wide range of shopping experiences, and I think it's a good way forward. Good way forward.
Do you have to tell the retailer that you're part of it, or does it happen automatically?
It's automatically. You just sign up on that board. You put your details in. It's an online process, offline process in Scotland at the moment. And they're evolving that here. But they've got such a wide range of stuff. I mean, to book a travel lodge, not very useful at this moment in time, but to book a travel lodge, you can go on there, book on, the club gets a percentage of your booking with the travel lodge. So things like that. Whole range of stuff. Have a look. It's very interesting, and I think it's a great idea to get money in to support the community trust. Anyway, but in case you've just joined us, I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of, and I'll say this in reverse order, Henry Morgan, Stan Godwin, and Jeff Burnige. But the strange thing is whichever way I say that, Stan Godwin is always in the middle. Well, we'll have to get on that app soon, as we can and will help the Millwall Community Trust to gain some much-needed funding. Well, it's time to look ahead to what is coming up for our Lions. But first, we'll hear from our latest recruit.
Hi everyone, Ellis here. Thanks for watching my videos and thank you for all the support. But now it's time to look ahead to your next match. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, come on, Millwall, and come on, Ellis. We're waiting for that next video to come out. Before the panel previews our trip to Cardiff City, let's hear what our Henry Morgan and Phil Clarke, certainly a good player in his day, even managed to play in the under-18s internationals for Wales, but spent most of his time in the Welsh League. Let's hear what Phil Clarke and Henry have got to say ahead of the game at Cardiff.
Welcome to View from the Opposition with Henry Morgan. This evening we're speaking to Cardiff City insider Phil Clarke for our second round this season. Phil, good evening.
Hey Henry, how's it going? Okay?
Well, not too bad. We managed to draw in the week against Watford, which is not too bad. So on to Cardiff City. How have Cardiff fared since the last time we met at the Den?
Yeah, well, after that 1-1 draw, I think that Cardiff's next match was a loss, but then we went on quite a good run, 5 games with a win. And then since then, it's kind of all fallen apart. Inconsistency has been the key word this season. And I think we've gone 6 games losing streak, which is our worst record since the mid-80s when Cardiff City were in the original Division 3.
So a bit of a torrid time since. I mean, I think many Millwall fans listening to this will know that Neil Harris was sacked in the last 7 days. Been replaced by Big Mick McCarthy, another Millwall legend. What has the reception been like down in South Wales for Mick, and what kind of any inside info that you've got on the potential challenges he's going to face?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, it hasn't been, the reception has been quite sort of negative. It's a bit of a nothing appointment as far as the Cardiff City fans are concerned. It's a little bit of a worrying appointment as well, because Mick McCarthy has a 6-month contract, which tells me that this is all about stabilising just for this season and avoiding relegation.
Which is interesting, because if you look at the betting sites, I think Cardiff are very far from going down. I think they also sit a place above Millwall currently in the table. So, what has been the undoing of Cardiff? Discontent in the dressing room. Is there anything that particularly the style of football, anything that's really stood out as to why they haven't kicked on? Because last season, obviously, they made the playoffs. What's the big difference there?
I think, just inconsistency, not getting the best out of some of our key players. Okay. I mean, Harry Wilson hasn't really set the world alight since he's joined Cardiff. But I think there's a few egos as well within that dressing room. And maybe that's another reason why Mick McCarthy was appointed, just to iron those egos out.
Like he did with Roy Keane famously in the 2000 World Cup.
That worked well.
No, okay. But something else, obviously, that we're quite wary of. Is this the first game, is it, since Big Mick's appointment on Saturday?
No, they played Barnsley, and it was a 2-2 draw. Cardiff City went 2-0 behind, so they actually showed some character to come back. They dropped Harry Wilson for that particular match, dropped 1 or 2 other key players as well. And Kiefer Moore came to the rescue once again for us. So it bodes well for Saturday's fixture. New manager, home match, showed character in the second half. So it does bode well, but like I say, the appointment is not a great one in my opinion.
Very interesting. Finally, do you have a prediction for us at the Cardiff City Stadium this Saturday?
It's a tough one. Kiefer Moore is doing well. He's got 9 goals. He started off the season pretty slow, but has come alive. Obviously, Jed Wallace is doing well for Millwall. I think he's got 6 goals and 2 assists. But I think with the reaction of the players to a new manager, I think Cardiff are just going to sneak this one 1-0.
It's interesting. I think most of the betting sites have Cardiff as favourites for this as well. When I looked earlier on the 538 statistical analysis site, they had Cardiff, I think, at about 43% for the win. The draw was about 30, but Mill lowly sort of 23, 24%. So, yeah, it could be a difficult trip to South Wales, as it usually is, actually, down at the Cardiff City Stadium. We haven't won down there for a while. Phil, it's been wonderful talking to you. And look forward to maybe having a catch up on Sunday where we can discuss the ins and outs of the match.
Okay, that's great. Thank you again, Henry.
Thank you, Phil. Take care.
Well done, Henry, and well done, Phil. Always good to hear Phil. He does a good analysis of what's going on. So, what do we make of what was said in that preview? Is it valid? And is there anything else to consider? I suppose with Henry's statistics, we've got to say there must be some validity in that. But, Jeff, what do you reckon?
Well, was it 14% chance that we would win the game? That must mean the odds
Jeff,
down the...
hang on, 26%.
That must mean we can get reasonable good odds down Joe Coral, or other bookmakers are available. I think I'm more optimistic than that. The one thing I agree with Phil about is we won't concede more than one goal, and we're quite likely to concede no goals. I don't think it matters that it's at home for Cardiff. We're better away. I can see a repeat of Huddersfield here, and I think we will narrowly win that game on Saturday. So I will be tuning in an optimistic mood.
Ooh. Stan?
Well, I agree with Jeff. I mean, I think we're more than capable of winning the game. But I was listening to the Cardiff guy, and I mean, I couldn't believe at times what I was hearing. I mean, I all right, I can understand they might have got the ump over Neil Harris, but then they've got Mick McCarthy, and who's got a better track record as a manager than some of them. I mean, and yet they don't seem to reckon that idea something. I mean. See, what always concerns me with some people, when they start sort of saying, oh, well, we don't want this bloke and we don't want that bloke, what is it they do want? I mean, is it a case of, they was in the Premiership and they got relegated and they take the view that, well, really, they shouldn't be where they are and they want a top manager. Well, it don't always work out that way, does it? I mean, I found it a bizarre, but that guy was a bit of a bizarre point of view, in my opinion.
I think he hooked into the fact that they've only given old McCarthy a 6-month contract as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Which is not good for McCarthy either. I mean, he must think, well, I'll have a go at this and see what comes along. But at least it puts him back in work for 6 months.
But Mick McCarthy, I mean, to be fair to him, in league terms, he's a proven manager.
He is,
and yet they don't reckon him.
And internationally as well.
Yeah.
No, amazing.
Don't get that at all.
Henry, how would you pull that together from what you spoke with Phil about and what the guys have said tonight?
So what is it? I think, having had a bit of time to reflect on it, it sounds to me like they made changes during the game against Barnsley. Those changes got them 2 goals and got them on the front foot in that second half of the game. And I think that's what we need to be wary of. There are obviously players on the fringes of the Cardiff team who need to make a point to a new manager and who will be fighting tooth and nail to get into the side. Now, if he starts with those players that come with that hunger and got them, those 2 goals in the second half after being 2-0 down against Barnsley. I mean, 2-0 down, you got to think you're pretty much dead and buried. They're having a good season, Barnsley. I'm very wary of it. I'm feeling, unfortunately, and unusually pessimistic about our trip to South Wales. And I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see us coming away with even a point at the moment, to be honest, just because of the change of manager. And if you've got players that are looking to make a point, they dropped one of their best players who's an ex-Welsh international. Now, does he fight for his place in the team? Does he come back? Does he come out? He's obviously got class, otherwise he wouldn't have been playing at that level.
Kiefer Moore,
Kiefer Moore in the, it worries me when a team that obviously has a better pedigree than their league position, who've been on a poor run of form, have suddenly started to turn it around and a new manager's come in. I think we might struggle, but, fingers crossed we continue to build on the performances we've had.
Right, so let's have your predictions. Jeff?
1-0 Millwall.
Stan?
Yeah, I'll go 1-0 Millwall.
And Henry?
I can't say we're going to lose, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Okay, that's reasonable. It's going to be a tough place to go. New manager in place. Mick can, without a doubt, mix it in the dressing room and get the best out of people. He's done it with us and he's done it elsewhere. So we need to look forward and be hopeful for a result at the City of Cardiff Stadium. We're back at the Den on Tuesday when we entertain high-flying Norwich. Hopefully Carl Bates won't inflict any more damage on the Norwich reporters or anything like this, or their equipment. But what are our thoughts ahead of this game? Stan?
It'll be a hard game, because Norwich are, and they've been for a number of years now, they play the game in the right way. They're very good. They've come down. They went up, didn't they? They come down. I mean, the thing about Norwich, and it's interesting, I mean, I've got a mate of mine who's a Norwich supporter, and the season that they went up, right, apparently they had to cut the wage bill, and they had to blood their youngsters, which they then did to great effect because they got promoted. And you know, they come down, and I think they're a bit of a yo-yo team when it gets into the Premier League. But you know, they are where they deserve to be, and I certainly think they're going to get promoted this year. So it'll be a hard game.
Hard game.
It's
Jeff?
winnable, but it's going to be a hard game.
Jeff?
Taking Cardiff away and Norwich at home within 3 days, I can't see us losing both those games. I don't think Norwich will fancy that pitch. I'm hoping it'll pee down with rain all day Tuesday. I think that'll be a leveller, and I'm not without hope, but I suppose a reasonable prediction will be similar to Watford. Hopefully we'll see some goals from Millwall players.
Henry?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something like our 9th game in the calendar month, isn't it? Almost. And it just comes off the back of that game at Cardiff where we're going to have to battle. I think the pitch is going to do us a favour against Norwich. Last time they came to the Den, I could remember them winning 3-1 in what felt like a bit of a promotion party for them, to be honest, which was a bit irritating. I think it's the kind of game where we could turn the form book on its head, and it's the kind of game where we could get a scrappy win. Just briefly touching on the Jake Cooper's offside inverted commas goal on Tuesday night. I mean, that's the kind of thing we need. We need a scrap in the box. And a goal from one of our centre-backs and see if we can beat them 1-0 and have a strong performance. And actually, like, perversely, I think we've got more chance of winning the game against Norwich than we do against Cardiff. There we are.
Interesting. Yeah. So, score predictions, Stan?
Oh, if it's going to be Norwich, I would go for a draw, 1-1.
Jeff?
Stan's always agreeing with me lately. Have you noticed that? I'm going to agree with Stan to return the compliment. 1-1.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, shared experiences. And you, Henry?
1-0. 1-0 Millwall.
Hey, it's good to see someone's got the clout to put that in behind us. Anyhow, don't forget, you can hear Henry reviewing the match before the Norwich game with whoever he gets along to do that. Maybe someone from Norwich, and links will be available on our social media sites. You'll also be able to hear him doing the review of the Cardiff game, previewing the Norwich game, the whole shebang. It'll all be there for you. Enjoy. It's always a good listen with Henry. We'll take a break there and listen to the inquiring voice of Patricia Maslin, who in particular at this moment in time is really reflecting a great need for our Millwall Community Trust.
Hi, Patricia Maslin here. The Millwall Community Trust needs volunteer help. Whether you're an organisation with bodies able to assist or an individual, the Trust needs you during the current conditions to support the vulnerable and needy. If you can help make a difference or need help, please contact Sean Daly, the Trust's Chief Executive Officer, by phone on 07958 027060. Once again, that's 07958 027060. Or contact by email sdaly, I'll spell that, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. I'll repeat that, sdaly, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you can, or you know someone or any organisation who might be able to help, please let the Community Trust know. Thank you.
Yeah, if you can volunteer, give them any help, get in touch. They really need it. They're losing their volunteers through the isolation process virtually every day. Anyhow, I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Henry Morgan. People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus or a consequence of suffering with it. Over 100,000 now. Deaths and infections continue at an incredible rate, whilst many more are still hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to their families, friends and those that take care of them.
There are so many fans who want to support the club, and you can help by joining the Lions Loyalty Club. It costs £40 with benefits. For £25, you or a member of your family can also be a crowdie. For £104, you can also obtain virtual mascot package, and why not sponsor a player's kit at the discounted rate of £450. That's £130 off with benefits. Also, watch out for the virtual match sponsor packages, which will shortly be released. All details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Lastly, don't forget iFollowers returns to our screens with Carl Bates and Max McLennan on Saturday against Cardiff. 100% of what you pay, less taxes for the internet streaming service, home or away, goes back to Millwall Football Club. What a good way to improve their revenue in these challenging times.
Next Friday, Gary Staff hosts Ted Robinson, Dave Hart and Patricia Maslin. In the meantime, Scott Johnson, the founder of the Proper Blokes Club, is still looking for guys to come along, join him to break the stigma of men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Being in lockdown means walks will continue, but on a one-to-one basis. Check out the Proper Blokes Club on Twitter, Facebook for further details. It's good night from me.
And don't forget, neither the Millwall Lionesses nor the Romans are playing at the moment under the current restrictions. Nevertheless, player sponsorship for the Lionesses is still available this season. Why not share the burden between a few of you and even a couple of companies? If you can give them some added support, it would be most helpful. You can find details on their website. Just put Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you'll find them easily enough. We've led by example and sponsored the captain, Libby Stubbs. Let's hope the season can resume, unlike last season, which got made null and void. With that, it's good night from me.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Follow the lockdown guidance, social distancing when outside, and a face mask where necessary. And self-isolation has also got to be done thinking of others. That's it from me. Thanks, Jeff, Stan and Henry. Until the next time, good night.